I just don't know how many quarterbacks could be successful in this situation. Skip, he's had D-Jack. D-Jack has played 7 games in 2 years. Alshon has played 10 games in 2 years. Last year, he had the worst group of receivers in the NFL. Now, think about it this year.
Not worse than Tom Brady.
Whoa, time out. Okay, I'm going to give you an opportunity. Alshon is yet to play this year. D-Jack has played, 2 games, and he got hurt in both of those games. He's playing without 2 of his tight ends. Zach Ertz is hurt now. He played about 5 games without Dallas Goedert. He's missed 3 of his offensive linemen. Miles Sanders is going down. So I would propose it to you like this. I'm going to say, Tom Brady, I'm going to take your top 3 receivers. I'm going to take your 2 top tight ends. I'm going to take both of your running backs, and I'm going to take 3 of your offensive linemen. How do you think he performs? Not very well. You do that with any quarterback. Skip, when you have Frank Reich, the problem that I have with Doug Peterson, the head coach, is that Frank Reich called plays according to what he had on the field. He had a top offensive line. He had very good receivers, so you could do scat protection. Dougie P is calling plays like he still got that. Lane Johnson has been in and out of the lineup. Remember, Barrett Brooks got hurt again. Jason Peters, he was hurt, just came back against Dallas. No Miles, he's playing with Boston Scott. The dude got 2 last names.
The dude can play.
And now he's throwing the Fulgham practice squad. Greg Ward Jr. was on the practice squad.
Can play. Greg Ward Jr. can play.
Skip, they're playing, but they're practice. Skip, they weren't counting on those guys. There's a reason why.
Jalen Reagor can play.
Skip, Jalen Reagor just got back. Remember, he was hurt. Remember, he got hurt early. D-Jack, hurt again. Alshon, yet to play. Zach Ertz, hurt. Goddard, just got back. Look at that. Lane Johnson, out again. Barrett Brooks, not there. The left tackle that they drafted in the first round got hurt. They bumped Peters from guard to tackle. He just got back against Dallas. Skip, what he's having to overcome and to have this team in position. Can you imagine if he had all of his top receivers like they got in Dallas? Can you imagine if he had his top running backs like they have in Dallas?
What top back? Help me out. Who? Who are you talking about? Tony Pollard?
So in other words, you would take Boston Scott over Zeke Elliott?
In impact right now, I would. Every time I turn on the TV and watch Boston Scott, he just lights it up.
The thing is, Dougie P is going to have to call plays, Skip. He's going to have to make adjustments because the pressure is getting there and he's throwing. Now, I'm not going to absolve Wentz. Just because the pressure is getting there, that don't mean you just throw it to the opposing guy. He's made some bad decisions. But to be able to have this team in first, even in a terrible division, is a feat in and of itself, Skip. But if you look at what he's playing through, you have to give the man kudos.
Kudos. I give him no kudos because I told you, I hate to say I told you so, but I told you during his rookie year, I don't like his intangibles. I don't like his poise. I don't like his ability to react to any kind of pressure. I don't like the fact that he tries to throw it through brick walls of defenders and too many passes get intercepted. I don't like it that he's turned into the equivalent of a Las Vegas slot machine. You just pull his arm down and the ball just pops out on the ground. You know, I got jokes because he's fumbled 55. He's lost 55 fumbles since his rookie year. That's by far the most in the whole league.
Yeah, of course.
And this year, in every quarterback metric you want, and I could go on, we just don't have enough show. According to this analysis, he ranks at or near the bottom in every statistical measure of a quarterback. As this analysis concludes, his internal clock is a mess. He holds the ball way too long.
He does.
Their sack rate is dead last in the league. And then when he tries to improvise, really bad things happen because he's running away with the individual turnover record, this year.
Dan Jones going to catch him, though.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't think so. And the point is that he did suffer a terrible injury to his ACL on December 10th of 2017. And at that point, he was having a magical ride.
He was going to be the MVP.
Yeah, he probably would have been the MVP. They were 11-2 at that point, and he led the NFL in QBR. But according to this analysis, if you break it down and look hard at what happened that year versus every other year that he's played, it was a statistical anomaly. It was just a freakish aberration of a year where he got hot and stayed hot. And then what happened? Well, they showed you what happened. That team was so good, it was so deep and so talented the backup quarterback took over and became the Super Bowl MVP. And they ended up the next year building a shrine in the locker room to Nick Foles because they don't love this kid as a leader. He doesn't have natural-born leadership intangibles. And we've seen big bombshell expose stories in Philadelphia about how they question his leadership. Seems like he's improved some in that category this year, but the results aren't good because there are too many turnovers and too many losses for a team that's still better than the Dallas Cowboys. They should be running away with this division.
That's Skip. You remember what happened when your guy Dak Prescott, who you said is exponentially better than Carson Wentz, played without Zeke, played without Tyron Smith, and had no Amari Cooper? Do we remember what Dak Prescott looked like? So just imagine. Now, you just told me that team was so talented and he was on the backup. Well, Jerry Jones has told us he has the most talented team in football. So why haven't they taken off with the backup?
By the way, you just made another case for why Jerry didn't give Dak his money. That stretch in 2017. It scared Jerry because Dak couldn't rise above the loss of his left tackle and his running back.
My guy rising above that right now. But you're still beating him up. Your guy couldn't do it. Look at what your guy got. I mean, just imagine.
Rising above it?
Let me ask you a question, Skip. If I take Amari, CeeDee Lamb, and Gallup away from Dak, I take his 3 top offensive linemen, and I take Pollard, and I take who's the back? Pollard and Zeke.
Yep.
What do you think that would be? Because that's what he did. He's doing that with backups. So you get to play with Wilson. You get to play with I forget the other guy, number 85. Those are going to be your guys. Those are going to be your wide receivers.
Noah Brown.
Yeah. Those are going to be your wide receivers. Because I'm going to tell you, when you go out there and look struggling, they can play. There are some ballers. Skip, I'm not saying the guy's Patrick Mahomes, but given his degree, like you like to tell me, given his degree of difficulty with what he's got, come on, Skip.
You always tell me how bad that Carson Wentz's protection is. This analysis points out that in pass block win rate, they rank 8th in the league. So it's not great, but it's certainly not awful. They're better than you're giving them credit for. I know they've had injuries and they've had to mix and match.
Yes.
But they've also had their studs for various...
What studs? The only guy...
Lane Johnson?
Lane Johnson is out.
Okay, but they've played some games this year.
A few games.
Yeah.
Tyron Smith played a few games, didn't he?
Yep.
Zach Martin played a few games.
We're not talking about them. We're talking about Carson Wentz.
That's my point, Skip, is that given what he's been going up against, I mean, think about it. At the beginning of the season, we're going to have Alshon and we're going to have D-Jack. We're going to have Zach Ertz and we're going to have Dallas Goedert. And we're going to have Jalen Reagor. For stretches, long stretches, they had none of that. Okay, we're going to have, we got Brooks, we got Lane Johnson, we got Kelsey, we're going to have Peters at guard, we're going to have a number 1 pick at left tackle. They had none of that but Kelsey at one point in time.
So, since he got hurt on December 10th of 2017, Carson Wentz is 17-17-1.
Win a division title and about to get number 3.
And why did they draft Jalen Hurts out of the University of Oklahoma? Because they're thinking this is not a long-term answer.
Waste the draft pick. How did Jalen Hurts help? So
Shannon,
what
you
has
gotta
Jalen
face it?
Let me ask you a question.
You were wrong about Carson Wentz.
What has Hurts done this year to help the Eagles win a game?
Well, let's start him and see what happens.
Start for what?
That would scare me to death because that would be game over in that division.
Did my guy just beat you 2 weeks ago? Beat the brakes off you.
He beat Nooch. He beat B.A.D.
No.
Benjamin Anthony DiNucci.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.